What's going on, everyone? My name is Aaron. This is Dad.0. So today I just want to give you guys my comparison of the 14 Pro versus the iPhone 15 Pro as someone who has bought and used both. This is not endorsed. This is not paid. I did not receive anything for free. I've bought both of these with my own money. So rest assured, this is my honest opinion and my honest recommendation whether I would say it's worth upgrading from the 14 Pro or earlier phones to the 15 Pro. So I've been using the 14 Pro as my main phone for about a year now, and upon getting the 15 Pro on launch day, in terms of design, you can definitely feel a weight difference. The 15 Pro definitely feels lighter and more comfortable to hold in the hand, and the slightly rounded edges on the 15 Pro do just feel a little bit more comfortable than the 14 Pro, which kind of digs into your hand and your palm a little bit. And the sort of brushed titanium just feels a little bit softer in the hands. It doesn't feel quite as cold or as rigid as the stainless steel. This is just something I noticed, but is completely subjective. Now, is this a significant upgrade? Maybe, but I think a lot of people use cases on their phone anyway, so I think you have to factor that in. If you plan to use this without a case, yes, this 15 Pro might be a little bit more comfortable to hold for long periods of time, but if you're getting a case, it might not make a difference at all. Another design difference is the smaller bezels on the 15 Pro. If I'm being honest, this is something I really didn't even notice a difference unless you hold them side by side. In terms of everyday use, it really doesn't make a huge impact. So again, I would categorize this as maybe a nice thing to have, but definitely not a significant upgrade. Now, two things that I do think are nice upgrades are the action button that replaces that silent switch that for me just ended up collecting dirt and dust, getting all sticky, and obviously USB-C. So when it comes to the action button, I really only find two of the actions really useful right now, and that is putting your phone into a focus mode. I think this is really helpful for people that are working or on video calls. And I think the big thing that everyone can use is the shortcut mode, where you can essentially create a shortcut to launch basically anything. You can launch apps, you can do settings. The sky's kind of the limit with that one. So the other two I think seem useful are the quick access to camera or flashlight, but honestly, you already have those quick access buttons on the home screen. So I don't find using this action button to be more efficient or useful really. And then the rest of them are kind of niche areas where a few people might find them useful, but I think most people won't. But this thing is still in its infancy phase, and it'll be interesting to see how it develops and what sort of third-party integrations come with it in the future. Now, if you look at any review from kind of the big tech reviewers out on YouTube right now, they make a big deal about the USB-C edition. And for me personally, and I think for a lot of people, it's a nice addition, but not quite the huge, significant upgrade that they're making it out to be. Yes, you definitely get way faster transfer speeds, but how big of a deal is that to most people out there? You really have to think, are you transferring your files, photos, videos to another device? And if you are, is making that transfer a couple seconds or minutes faster really that big of a deal? Now, for some, it definitely will. They're using their phone for professional video or photography. They're transferring huge raw files, but I think that's kind of a smaller segment, whereas most people, like me, I like the addition of USB-C because now I only need to carry one charging cord for my MacBook, my iPad, and my phone. So you have to personally think how you're going to use that port. Is it more of a convenience thing, or are you actually going to take advantage of that higher transfer speed that will make this a more significant upgrade? When it comes to cameras, listen, these are both really, really great cameras, and in a lot of photos you won't be able to tell a difference. Where I can sometimes tell the difference is in low light situations. The 15 Pro does seem to have more exposure, and you can see more details when there's a little light over the 14 Pro. Having that focal length picker is also kind of cool, and my daughters really love the next gen portraits where you can actually make any photo you take into a portrait. You can now shoot in 4K HDR at 60 frames on the 15 Pro, which is limited to only 30 frames on the 14 Pro. So on paper, some definite nice upgrades here. But if you're asking me in my day-to-day usage if I see a substantial upgrade in my photos and videos that I take, the answer I would give you is not really. Alright, let's talk about performance. Obviously with the 15 Pro you get the upgraded chip, the A17 Pro, which is a 3nm versus the 5nm A16 Bionic. You get a slightly faster CPU, a 6-core GPU compared to a 5-core in the 14 Pro, a 16-core neural engine just like the 14 Pro, but they say is up to 2 times faster, and you get 8 gigs of memory compared to 6 gigs on the 14 Pro. So those are the differences on paper. In real world usage, I don't see a big difference, if any difference really, in day-to-day performance. Both of these things are lightning fast, and running on iOS 17, everything runs really smoothly. I haven't experienced any freezing or lag. Where you might see a difference, and this is something that I can't really speak to because I'm not much of a gamer, with that faster GPU, you'll probably see an upgraded gaming experience, higher resolution, higher frame rates, and that extra 2 gigs of memory will help keep apps open longer and keep this a little bit more future-proof. But for most other things, again, I don't tell a big difference, if a difference at all. Apps open up super fast on both of these. Multitasking is a breeze. Again, no lag, freezing, or crashing on either one of these. Alright, so after using this 15 Pro for a week now, and that honeymoon phase has kind of lifted, and I can really get down to the nitty gritty of if I think it's worth upgrading from the 14 Pro or not, I have to be honest and say that for the average user, I probably wouldn't recommend upgrading, because if you're anything like me, you end up slapping a case on this phone, and it feels almost exactly like the 14 Pro at that point. The USB-C is a nice addition, but again, if you're anything like me, I don't really use it much, if at all, for data transfer, so it's really just the nice convenience of only having one cord for all my products. The action button is cool and also convenient, but again, not anything revolutionary, I would say. And the camera upgrades and performance upgrades, while they can seem big on paper, really aren't that big to me in day-to-day usage. So all those factors combined make it really hard for me to recommend for you to go drop over $1,000 US if you already have the 14 Pro. Now, if you have an older model, like a 13 or earlier, well then you're getting all those upgrades, plus you're getting things like Dynamic Island, which I personally find really useful. You get a higher peak brightness, and you get always on display, plus a bunch of other upgrades. So at that point, then I would say, yeah, this would be a very nice upgrade from those phones. But if you're sitting there with a 14 Pro right now and wondering if you should upgrade, I would say skip it. Let's see what they got next year. Alright guys, I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you for watching till the end. If you like this video, press that like button, press that subscribe button for more content. I hope this helps you with the buying decision, and like always, I'll catch you on the next video.